understand that this Bible was not written in English?
Amen.
Everybody clear on it? Do you understand it was not written in King James Version?
Yep.
Okay. How many of y'all have seen the bumper sticker that says, well, if it ain't King James, it ain't the Bible? Y'all seen that one?
Oh, yeah.
I got news for you. I wish I had a bumper sticker that said, if it ain't Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek, it ain't the Bible. Okay. The first, so it took about 1,600 years to put this thing together. And the very first translation was when they put all these together in one thing. Plus, it was when they first started doing this, they had more than 66 books. But the very first language that they translated all this into was not English or anything else. The very first translation, all this stuff was translated into, turned out to be Latin. So that was the first translation, Latin. And it was translated in Latin about 400 AD, roughly. Right. Then the Latin went into the very first English translation a long time later. Two Johns, two guys named John. The first one, I'm going to write all this. The first one's name was John Wycliffe. In the year 1382, he started trying to translate Latin into English, and he couldn't finish it. And another guy named John Purvey, he actually finished it in 1388. So I might as well say around 1400, roughly around 1400 AD, we got our first English translation. Wasn't King James. Some of y'all are getting confused. About 400 after the cross, all this stuff was translated into Latin. About 1400 after the cross, got translated into English. Then, but it's all handwritten. The very first time that it was typed up and printed was in the year 1456 was the first printed, but it wasn't in English. First time it was an actual book. It was in German. The first one that was actually typed up and published and bound and as a book was in the year 1456, and it was a German Bible called the Gutenberg Bible. It's still ringing real loud. Then in the year, I won't write all these down, I'm just giving you some information because I'm trying to shake your heads today. In the year 1560, someone took this thing and broke it down into chapter and verse. The original manuscripts were not written in chapter and verse. They had no numbers. Okay? That didn't even happen until 1560. 1560, someone said this thing would be easier to read if we give it all chapters and verses. Okay? Then now's where we're getting close to home. In the year 1603, there was a guy who was king over England, King Jimmy, King James. And because it was a lot of confusion. It was German Bibles and Latin Bibles and English Bibles and chapters and verses. And he said, okay, I want you to, I order you to make a new version. And he got together 54 of the greatest scholars and told them, I want you guys to make a Bible that I can read and I can understand. And they split up into 6 groups. Thank you, whatever you did. And they started their work in 1603, and they finished it in 1610. Took them a while. And in the year 1611, it was done and published. 1611, is when the King James Version came out. And guess what it was in? You ready? All you people who are big King James fans, look at me. When it came out in the year 1611, King James called it the Authorized Version. He didn't even call it King James Bible. He called it, this is the Authorized Version. I give it authority. And it was in modern language. He could understand it. He could understand it. King James was translated into a modern version. Okay? So all you people who are stuck there, why don't you get a modern version?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That just made somebody mad.
Probably.